Here we go. Yo! What's happening, everybody? We're back with another episode of Too Much Fantasy Football. It's Brian and Brennen here to break down quarterback rankings. And man, I thought this was going to be an easy episode because we did this episode, back in June, May, something like that. Easy, early rankings. And man, it looked good. We were right there, lockstep. Today, not going to be quite that. Before we get into it, though, let's talk some news. Brennan, you ready to talk some news?
I'm always ready.
Always ready. That's right, folks. That's why we... Look at that. You know who else is ready? Jonathan Brooks, because it looks like he's getting the first crack with the starters there in the preseason game on Saturday. What does this mean?
I mean, this is what you have predicted in the beginning of the season. We were doing all our drafts. We're like, second round pick. Chuba didn't look good last season. Lost his job to Rico Dowdle. This is a guy that's younger. Granted, it's back-to-back ACL injuries, but like when he's on the field, it's great. So it's worth the gamble. And now we're going to see his ADP definitely skyrocket.
This is going to change it. He is no longer going to be this quote-unquote sleeper, in the late rounds for redraft. He's going to be drafted in the top 30 of running backs now. I'm still down. It's going to, I guess we're probably in the running back episode would do next week. We'll probably have to figure out where that line is, how early can you take him. But this is positive news. This is great news. Really excited for my 51% bag.
Yeah, no kidding. I will say there's a flip side to this. Like, he hasn't played football in a meaningful volume in like 3 years. So like,
he needs this.
Yeah, like this is going to be interesting too. Like I'm all in. The price is great. I still think like where he's going in I think we saw him like 8th round, 9th round is where it was. I'm still good there. Like all day long.
I'll push a button. Yeah, I'll push the button. Nice. Let's go to next one. We got Tua. Looks like he's going to draw the start in the preseason. Everything's moving like it should be Tua. Like, I mean, the Tua haters are out there, and I'm not saying he's a great quarterback by any means, but man, Penix doesn't look great.
Yeah, I don't know what the Falcons are kind of expecting this year. I think they're kind of just hoping to get a pick and redo this whole quarterback situation all over again. Like, that's where I'm probably thinking they're at. I think like for Drake London and for Kyle Pitts and Bijan, I think like the best quarterback out there would be Tua, just because I think like for Bijan, Tua's just going to check it down. That's great.
Yeah.
I think Tua's going to he worked with Mike Medina because he just went the first route. So as long as the first read is like wide open, it's going to be great for whoever it is. So I think it's Tua. If he falls to like 2 and 6, 3 and 3 and 7 or whatever, then I could see Penix coming in.
Yeah, I really hope we don't. Penix, man, take the whole year to just recover. That's not even that much hope in necessarily Tua. It's bad. I have a lot of faith in Stefanski. Scheme it up, like you said, get a lot of those first reads to Drake London. Hopefully Kyle Pitts is getting some of that action. But either way, it's all volume. We just need volume for these three players. Emeka Egbuka, yikes! Hold your breath a little bit. Limps off practice. Looks to be a toe injury there. Where's the panic meter? We freaking out? We had a 10, or is this just a cool 1-2?
I think it's just like a 1-2. Like I'm only going to pay attention when the headline says like he's going to probably miss a month or two. Like, for example, Luther Burden. That actually scares me. Like, kind of pausing on that. I was already kind of out on him on the ADP, but like now this is like I can comfortably move him way down, and I'm not going to really like scoff at it.
No, I agree with that. This one did have a lot of people freaking out. It's no fun when we see, Chris McCaffrey a couple days ago, we talked about that, the tightness there in your first round pick. Well, Puka Nacua looking like to be a 101, 102, 103 pick in some drafts. This guy's going right up there at the top. Dealing with a groin injury. Raise your hand if you're dealing with a groin injury. Look at that. Like 500 NFL players just raised their hand. Everybody's got a freaking groin injury, it feels like this year.
Yeah. Again, like summertime heat, I'm sure all plays into the factor of it. I still think he's going to be the second wide receiver off the board, at worst third, until it's again they're saying like, oh, he might miss a month. Then it's like maybe he might be the fifth or sixth receiver off the board. At least it's not a concussion. That's like the biggest thing with him is just his head.
Yeah,
It's
keep
not
him
all
up there,
there.
right? And so, does this? I mean, I don't want to take too much of the conversation away from our wide receiver ranks episode, but Puka, Jamar Chase. Do you have an outright favorite, or is it just either or?
Jamar. I think
Okay,
Jamar is it's tough like to not have Jamar one.
and I feel like it's blasphemous to say that Jamar is in a tier above. I feel like you have to say them in the same tier, but I do prefer Jamar over Puka in that argument.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. I've got what else do we have? Cam Scatabo, Tyrone Tracy, co-starters, baby. Is this because we're running two, maybe three running backs out of the backfield, or is this just? I mean, the guy's injured. They're both day three picks. Let's get them both involved here. Like, I still have Cam Scatabo in my top 20 running backs here. I'm not worried about this at all.
I mean, we all know that Jackson Dart's the real RB1, right? Like
This is
this.
true.
Yeah, like no, I think you should take Tyrone Tracy and like the later rounds in your leagues. Like Cam Scatterbo just isn't for whatever reason. Like he's already said, like, yeah, first touchdown, I'm gonna do a backflip. Like we just, it's the lights are on, but no one's home for either quarterback and running back there. So like Jameis Winston, I think will play a decent amount of games, which sucks. Well, actually, it's always fun when Jameis
I
plays,
don't
but
know if that sucks.
sorry, yeah, say sorry. It's always fun when he plays, but like, yeah, like Tyron Tracy is someone that you should actually draft in your redraft leagues because, like, I think he will also play. He will also start a few games.
I don't know why that isn't talked about a little bit more. We don't talk about backup quarterbacks that much, but the fact that Jameis is no longer the third in the depth chart, he's been buried at third and fourth on the depth chart for so many years. He is now the direct backup to a guy that doesn't like to play full seasons. Like he spends time in the medical tent. Even if Jameis comes out there for, maybe it's not necessarily a great thing for quarterbacks, but Jameis gets to play a quarter, because Jackson Dart's going to get looked at. Oh man, Malik Neighbors, baby, 80-yard touchdown. Here we come. But Debo Samuel, let's go back to the Niners or go to San Francisco. Watch out for the injuries. But Debo looks like he's starting. Yeah, is that really a surprise? Comfortable with the offense, familiar with the team. They are desperate. Need I say more?
No, I mean, what they're saying Deshaun Stripling's the best receiver in camp, but like again, Shanahan, better than has like he like in the backfield just somebody. I'm taking the can just because Shanahan.
You're cutting in
Am I? What the hell?
and out. Oh, I think I got you now.
Okay,
There we go.
it's
We're stable.
okay.
Yeah, T-Mobile just didn't like the Shanahan shenanigans.
Yeah, no kidding.
yeah,
Are we good?
yeah, I think we're good now.
Okay, all right. I don't know where you want me to start off. Sorry.
Uh, pick it up. Just any of the Debo talk.
Oh, I guess we'll start off again. Yeah, no, I think when everyone gets worried about Debo for whatever odd reason when he comes to camp for San Francisco, they see him out of the backfield, which is like odd. Like he was wide receiver 2 at his peak, if I'm not mistaken, behind Cooper Cup that
Mm-hmm.
magical season. So I'm all in on drafting Debo wherever I can.
Somewhere in that like wide receiver 30 to 35 range, somewhere about that. I feel pretty good about that. As far as what he's going to
Yeah.
bring to the team. Does he have top 5 overall? No, I think we can wave that goodbye. But could this guy be flirting with like low end wide receiver 2 by the end of the season? Absolutely. If he gives us a full year, probably won't happen in San Francisco. But on a per game basis, this guy could be up there. Nice. Any other notes before we get into these rankings?
Sleeper notes. I mean,
Ooh.
Caleb Douglas, Miami Dolphins. He was a third-round pick. He is getting a lot of praise from all the beat out there, saying that he is consistently one of the better wide receivers out there, and they think that he's going to be a potential starter in Week 1. Which adds up. Like his real competition is what Malik Washington and Jalen Tolbert. Like it's very slim pickings there. So you could be
Yeah.
taking him with your last pick to lead the, be the Dolphins' leading receiver.
Yeah, I saw somebody talking about Jalen Tolbert is not only on the bubble to make the roster, but also in contention to be the number 2 wide receiver. So this, take your shots is what I can say. If you are in a 10-team league, don't even bother. Like honestly, the Greg Dulcich hype that's popping up, don't even bother in a 10-team league. But like 12-team, especially some of these chopped leagues, absolutely some of these last picks, take your shots. Just shotgun approach to this backfield because if Malik Willis actually is good, I think he just has to be mediocre to be good for fantasy. But if he's actually good, then we might get a couple worthy pieces out of here other than just him and Achan. All right, let's get to these rankings. Let's talk quarterbacks, everybody. Let's bring Brennen in here. For some reason, it booted him out. It's because his quarterback ranks are too spicy, folks. It's too spicy. That's what I guess we're looking at here.
Stop. I'm gonna try to reboot this. There's a delay, isn't there?
Okay. Pausing.
Yeah, I know.
But folks, we are bringing you our quarterback ranks here. We're diving in. We're looking at mine. We're looking at his. We're looking at the combination of the two because it's probably where the answer lies a little bit because we do have some discrepancies. It's not going to be here at the number 1 spot though. That's for damn sure. Number 1 overall, we've got Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson for both of us. I mean, the guy's been number 1 for 5 of the last 6 years, and the year it wasn't, it was number 2 finish, I believe.
Yeah, like until you've dethroned the king, like you still got to put the king at 1. It's just how it is.
The question is though, is the king's price worth it? Because I don't have Lamar too far behind, and Lamar goes a good chunk behind as far as ADP is considered.
I don't know, man. Like if in most of my leagues, like this year, what I'm seeing is he's around like the 2-3 turn for Josh Allen. Is that correct?
302 is his average draft spot. Lamar Jackson at 407 though, so almost a round and a half.
I'm not taking Josh Allen to 2-3 turn. Like the 3-4 turn, absolutely. Like cool. I already have 2 running backs, a wide receiver, and I get a Josh Allen as my quarterback. That's fine with me. But it's tough to take him at 2-3 turn.
It really is. It's hard to stomach that, especially in your bigger leagues, your 12+ team leagues, when you can get Lamar Jackson something that's comparable at a significantly cheaper price there. But we do have Lamar Jackson at 2. Bounce back year. I'm excited for the offense. I'm excited for the new offensive coordinator. This is a new regime altogether as far as just like the coaching staff. Zay Flowers just got paid, right? We're getting hype from the 2 rookies. At least Jacoby Lane seems to be really pulling away there. But I mean, what else can there be? Or what else is there to say about Lamar? That's exactly nothing else to be said.
Dude, it's just my Wi-Fi. I think it's bun. So
Yeah, I was talking about Drake or Lamar Jackson for a second. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's paused, and I went to throw it to you, and it was just silence. I'm like, all right, yeah. I think
like you were about to start talking about Lamar Jackson. Like you were just right about to start talking about it, and I was just like, yeah, that ship sailed.
Locked up. Awesome. Lamar Jackson, another consensus. I mean, it seems to be the top 2 tier for us. These 2 guys, pretty locked in there. No questions asked. You see the bounce back season coming for Lamar and the Ravens.
Yeah, I think this is his. It's crazy. He's won 2 MVPs, but like, man, there's a chance for him to be, his best offensive season. It could be this year, just because it's not Greg Roman or Munkin calling plays. This is someone that we don't know what we're getting. We're hoping it's just really good and magical because we just haven't seen it yet. So there's a chance that Lamar has QB1 season. It's this year too.
It's absolutely bonkers. One of his best seasons, he didn't actually win MVP, which is probably the one of the wildest parts of that whole situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, a third one could be coming his way this year. I'm excited for the offense. At the QB 3, 4, and 5, we have the same three players, just in a different order. I'm looking at Drake May, Jayden Daniels, Joe Burrow. Your Jayden Daniels, Joe Burrow, Drake May. Honestly, I just switched Drake May to 3 over Jayden Daniels after the injury to the left tackle for Jayden Daniels, Laramie Tunsil. But like, we're splitting hairs here at this point. This is a solid tier for me. Honestly, Jalen Hurts coming in at 6. We both have him at 6. I'd loop him in as a tier below with these 4 guys. What are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, I loop Jalen Hurts from Jayden to Jalen in my rankings, all in the same tier. I really like you have
Same.
Drake May ahead of Joe Burrow. Like for me, Drake May, if we pull up his last season, I think that's probably his best season we will see for. I don't know if he chops that. Like he was neck and neck with Stafford for MVP. Like it was, and which is phenomenal. But then I told you last time we talked, like Joe Burrow, if he just plays 17 games straight, it's 4,700 yards, 47 touchdowns, and like under 10 interceptions. Like that trumps anything that Drake May did. So I'm just going off the ceiling of the guys, and I think the ceiling is Joe Burrow has a higher ceiling than Drake May. But that doesn't mean I don't think Drake May is a
Yes.
talented quarterback. I just think, and also the weapons. Joe Burrow also has just a little bit better weapons.
hmm I'd say Drake May has a higher floor. Joe Burrow has a higher
Mhm.
ceiling when you're looking at those
Yes.
two. Joe Burrow at second or third, I think third easiest schedule in the league for the Bengals this year. Defense got a little better, but not a whole lot better. That they've got 2 studs on the defense, but outside of that, it's hope and prayers that some of these new talents come in. Um, Offensive line still isn't great for Joe Burrow, so that hurts. But I really do. I want to put Joe at 3. It feels a little reckless, or maybe it feels a little too contrarian for me. Not that he is regularly up there, but a non-mobile guy, it's hard to put them up there at number 3 because when you
Yeah,
look at
it's
this
tough. Like,
bunch, he's the only non-mobile one or serious mobile one.
yeah, it's tough just because like Joe Burrow is mobile though. Like he can be. He's kind of like Aaron Rodgers, like sneaky athletic. He makes the move when he needs to.
2 to 300 yard guy, not these 500
Yeah.
plus guys like the rest of them. But he also has the highest chance of this whole group of throwing 45 touchdowns. Let's go on to this next tier because shit gets spicy here. Why don't you open up with your next 3 here? What are we looking at? 7, 8, and 9 for you.
I have money on Herbert winning MVP again. And this is a guy I think has his best offensive coordinator that he'll ever have in his career, unless the Chargers, magically grow a brain and we're like, hey, we should keep the guy that, calls the plays with our quarterback for years to come instead of a guy that just screams, who's got it better than us? Nobody. I don't know. You tell me. But like, uh, yeah, I think this could be Justin Herbert's, best season we can see. And so like, I have him at 7, which is, I think, a little insulting to the guys ahead of him. It's just, they've done it on a consistent basis. And not saying Herbert hasn't, but I could easily see Herbert being a top 5 quarterback this year, just alone in that. Caleb, I go back and forth. Caleb. It's just one of those things that I believe in Ben Johnson. I think it's really what it is. This is the Ben Johnson ranking, not a Caleb ranking. Like I love Ben
Love
Johnson,
that.
so that's where I have it at. And then Dak and Jackson, like I could flip them either way. And Jackson just scares me just because of he doesn't want to slide.
Yep. 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 I I want to do 2 different style of rankings. I want to do draft rankings and I want to do points per game rankings because we do points per game rankings. Jackson Dart's top 6 easy, but
He might be top 5.
yeah, easily. Yeah, yeah, I'm okay with that. You want to argue top 3? Sure, let's play that game. I'm
Yeah.
down. But this is an incredibly challenging port. That's why we're not posting just solely the rankings, folks. You got to listen to these episodes. You have to have perspective on what you're looking here. If you do have any thoughts, make sure you're hitting them down there in the comments. We appreciate it because you already liked and subscribed. We know that. But let's talk about mine because it looks pretty wild. And I like to think I'm not the hot takey guy. I don't like to get too wild. I don't like to get too crazy. But let's just speak to the difference between QB7 and QB17. We're talking less than 2.5 points a game. So like really we're splitting hairs here, and then the way I'm doing this is I just have guys ranked that I am confident that I am shooting those shots in. So Jared Goff is my number 7. I have been on the Goff train all off season. I've been on the Lions train all off season. I think we're in for some magic from this team. I think Jared Goff is going to be 35 plus touchdowns. I think this team is going to crush, and they're going to step on the throat and continue to crush because that's just how this coach plays. Dan Campbell likes to make it happen. So I've got Jared Goff up here at the top. I think this offense will continue to hum. Trevor Lawrence, like you said, I love Ben Johnson's offense and I love Liam Cohen's offense. So Trevor Lawrence, I have him at 8. You have him down at 11. It's at 4 spots, but it's really not. It's really not. I've got Jackson Dart at 11, or I mean, I'm sorry, I've got Jackson Dart at 9 after Trevor Lawrence. Love the mobility. And then here we go. Here we go. You've got Jackson Dart at 10. I've got Baker Mayfield at 10. I've got Baker, Bazooka Baker, coming at it off the injury. We've seen Netflix. We know what's happening here. You know that amazing wide receiver I have? Who do you think I'm talking about? Godwin, Egbuka, Jalen McMillan, Ted Hurst. There's just so many to name. There are just so many wide receivers we could be talking about here. How is this offense not top 5? Top 5 passing offense.
I don't know, man. Like I had a struggle with Baker just because it's like he is talented and like he had really good seasons with Tampa. It's like, but Mike's gone. Like there is like that factor of like, man, Mike Evans is a really good wide receiver. And I know that, Baker obviously played games without and has done very well, but like it's a season long game and, Egg's already starting off being a little bit injured. I mean, Chris Godwin, what is he? Ted Hurst, he's making some camp noise.
What is he? Are you kidding me? Yeah, you just lost your seat at the table, the Chris Godwin table there. You haven't
No,
even talked
it's
about Jalen
also
McMillan yet.
just I know, and he's injured right now. That's another thing too. He's injured. We don't know if he's actually going to start the year. That's the scary part. But like Baker could easily be. I mean, I could put him where Stafford is, but it's like, man, he just won MVP, and we're rolling it back. He's got Sean McVay as a play caller. I'm like, that's what I look at, and like when I say like the quarterback, I am attaching their offensive play caller with them. Like that is like my belief
For
in
sure.
the system. So that's the thing too. It's like
it might actually be weighted 50-50 OC and quarterback here. This might be more of an OC conversation than a quarterback conversation. So I'm going back to the Baker with Zach Robinson, in the McVay system. Played with him for a short amount of time. I have questions about this running game. Tristan Wirfs also going to be injured here going into it. And Baker Mayfield has done more running in the last 2 years than he has his entire career. So let's ride. Let's ride with Baker. I do need a little help here. I might be a little hyper aggressive with Jared Goff. Let's call it 10-11. Maybe that seems more modest. You got him at 16 down there, though, man. What are we doing?
Jared Goff is, man, it's tough because it's like he plays out of the 17 games, 16 of them are indoors, right? If I'm not mistaken, something like that.
It's heavily
It's
favored in that.
heavily indoors. I forgot or it's like 13 of them or something like that. But like, anyways, easiest schedule. It's just the mobility. Like he's a pocket pass. He would need to the numbers that I said for Joe Burrow on a 17 game, pace of like he would need to be pretty close to crack the top 10 for that to happen. And he did it 3 years ago? He was QB I forgot what he was, QB 6, QB 7.
He has been inside the top 10 for the last 4 years. Starting with 2022, QB 10, 7, 6 and 9. Going back 4 years, 45, 46, 45, 4,400 yards, 34 and 37 touchdowns the last 2 years, 30 and 29 the 2 prior years. I think this year is built for something like that. And I completely respect the whole, the non-mobility. But these guys sneak in there. Half the time they sneak in there not because of the mobility, but because they're not mobile and they don't get hurt. And they play 17 games. Look at Matt Stafford. Yeah, he had to throw for 40 touchdowns to get up there, but he played a full season, and that's half the battle. When we look at guys like Jayden Daniels and Dart, and I mean Baker played them, but you didn't want him to play them all. So a lot of risk with that no upside, but I think it's everything else encompassed.
Put it like this: I could swap Caleb and Jared Goff right now on my list.
Yeah. Yeah, I originally had Caleb Williams at like 15, and I'm like, this is just egregious. I need to move him up higher.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot going on there. Sliding on down, I do have Justin Herbert at 11. I think that this running game is going to be just nasty. I think they're going to score a lot of points, and I think the pace of play is going to be down. Mike McDaniel, he's calculated with how he works, and he's not necessarily the Keenan Allen or Kellen Moore. I always want to call him Keenan Allen because whatever. Kellen Moore, he's not that quite fast paced offense. So I think just between the pacing and the running game, that is what's kept me from putting Justin Herbert any higher than I have him.
That's fair. Like we both are big Hampton fans, so like if you believe in Hampton, then you believe the running game seems to be successful. So like I can't remember the last time there was ever a like top 5 running back and a top 5 quarterback in the same season.
Yeah,
Like,
I'd be interested to find
is
that
that
out. Folks, you figure that out, drop it in
yeah?
the comments for us.
I'm very curious if those ever aligned, like, and how often that actually aligns.
I mean, honestly, Lamar and Derrick Henry had to have been close
Yeah, it's the only thing I can
a
think of,
couple
and
of
it's
years
like
ago.
it's kind of an anomaly too at that point. That's just like a cheat code putting Derek with Lamar.
Mm. What else do we have here? We both have Bo Nix at 13. Would I love to have him like 9-ish? I really would. I started off with him around 15, 16, just about a month or so ago. So, very volatile player for me. How are you viewing him coming off the injury, coming into year 3 with one of the best weapons he's had of his career?
It's a very much improved offense. Like they finally made the investment and got him like the X factor receiver in Waddle. Waddle has a like he's just a top 10 receiver. It's been in like in his wheelhouse for basically his career. He's going to a play caller that we like. It's not Sean Payton, it's Davis Webb. That's another thing too, is that like, and I think Waddle lives in that, basically intermittent zone. That's what Bo Nix does. He does like to launch the ball, further down the field. He's just not accurate at it. So they found a guy that they can, eat away at the in between the 20-yard line. So that's
Yeah.
where that's just where I'm at. And he can scramble too. That's another thing too, is like there is like maybe I'm just a Bo hater. I didn't like him out of college. I do think he's kind of flawed of a quarterback.
Same.
He does need to be in the right system, and I think he is in the right system. I don't think he'll ever win MVP. I don't think he'll ever be a top 3 quarterback. I think he will have good seasons. I just don't think they'll be amazing.
I think it'll be a question of whether or not he signs an extension with the Broncos. He is 26
He
years
will.
old going into year 3. He's a first round pick, so they've got 3 more years with him. So he will be going into year 30, in that offseason where he gets extended. And, 30-year-old
If
quarterback.
Tua got an extension, Bo gets an extension.
Their hands were tied with that, though.
I'm just saying, like if
Sean
Tua got
Payton
an
doesn't get
extension,
his
Bo
hands
got
tied.
one.
Look what they did
Yeah,
to Russell Wilson. He says, "Watch
this
me."
is true. This is true.
But I do like it's him and Penix were two that were, I guess Jayden Daniels like borderline. He's a lot better, but like yeah, Bo Nix and Penix were really interesting just as far as the where they got drafted and their age. Tyler Shuck will be interesting too when he goes up. What else do we have here? All right,
We
go
didn't
ahead and
talk
yell at
about
me.
this.
Go ahead.
Kyler got named the starter today.
He did. He did. As I have him at 14, you have him at 15. Did we really have a doubt in this though?
No, no, there's no
Because
doubt. I mean, JJ McCarthy is just. If you look at the timeline of what JJ McCarthy like was and is right now, he went to the best prep school in all of Florida for high school football. Didn't do a whole lot there. Went to Michigan, and again was just a handoff king to Blake Corum. Had one of the best running games, and he didn't have to throw the ball. I think the most he threw in one game was 30 times, and was then picked at the 11th, 10th pick,
10th or 11th,
something like
yeah.
that, 12th. Yeah, again, he can't throw to the left side of the field. He's literally Zoolander. He cannot go left. So I, he was just not a good pick.
Yeah, the Vikings are going to be an interesting situation whether or not they get in the extending Kyler game or have to re-roll it back. Anthony Richardson should be a free agent here any day now. They also have that game that they could play. I, Kyler Murray, though, I'm excited. I think on a points per game basis, he would be up there around 8 or 9 if that's the style rankings we were doing, just because of what he can do. The fact that he is a top 5, top 6 guy in a career points per game basis as far as fantasy football goes, there's still question marks.
I have a question for you. If Kyler doesn't work out, do the Vikings consider firing Kevin O'Connell? I'm going to say no, but
Should they consider it? Maybe. Will they? No.
Okay. Yeah.
No. That's one thing that's going right now is the coaching situation between having him there and then Flores at
And
DC.
Flores, yeah.
Yeah, it's a sweet little combo we have there. I look, we on this show, Too Much Fantasy Football, have done a damn good job over the years making sure that Dak gets his due. Dak ain't getting his due right now in my rankings. I have him at 15. You have him at 9. I think the defense is going to be better. I think the defense is going to be significantly better. I don't know. I really don't have anything. Like
is the tinfoil hat on for you because he's had a good season and historically he's always had a downward season afterwards? Is that it? Is your tinfoil hat next to you?
Let me push it away. Get it out of the camera space. Oh, look, it's dawned on me. I would love to be able to say that there is no bias, and I haven't been putting that in my decision making because I don't think I have. If you said, Brian, you have to put him in your top 10, I'd be like, fine, I'll do it. I really I could pull that off. I think it's just the excitement for what Kyler Murray could be, the rushing with Bo Nix, what could be with Trevor Lawrence and Caleb Williams, what could be with I guess maybe it's tired. Maybe that's what it is. It's just a tired take of I'm tired of taking Dak, and the fact that the price is finally up there of where he should be respected. That let me take a shot because all of those guys are cheaper than Dak.
Yeah. Man, I think Dak gets a lot of hate, and I'm looking at it now. I'm just like, man, he is so good. Like the first week, he QB 29. That's not good. And then everything else is just green. And then he just has sprinkles of like QB 22 and a QB 25. So like right when the playoffs started, he was QB 25. So he lost everybody the first week in playoffs probably. And then if he somehow got a bye, he was QB 11. And then championship, he was QB 8. Like I think he just gets a bad repertoire because of the Cowboy. It's that stigma. I take it away from it. He is on a points per game basis. We would have him in the top 10, and you know that. You would if he came down on a points per game basis, he'd be top 10.
He was tied for 6th most top 12 finishes last year. It's like top 6 in points per game is what you were getting from him. The only one above him were Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Jacoby Brissett, Josh Allen, and Drake May. And Jacoby Brissett isn't going to repeat what he did, and then Patrick Mahomes was doing it from his leg, so that one's kind of crossed off too.
The outlier here for him is that they had the worst defense. That was the thing is he was constantly in shootouts and having to move the ball. So he might take a step back purely just because they've improved the things they needed to, and they do not need to sit there and chuck the ball 50 plus times and be in these shootouts. So that's where it could stem from as well.
Yeah, Javonte Williams is at one of the highest odds to have double-digit touchdowns as far as running backs go. 14, 15 touchdown season from him could, cut into Dak a little bit. And like you said, if this is just an average, a mediocre defense, that's going to cut into a lot of what they were doing. So that's all this is. Dak, I still feel like I'm giving him his due. This isn't disrespect. This is just price baked in as well. Then we get down to here's just this ugly stuff. Patrick Mahomes, I've got it 17. You've got it 14. I think this is going to be a defense and running team. And when I say running, it's not Patrick Mahomes running.
Again, get hurt again. So if they can avoid that, which they gave Ken Walker a bag, they're going to lean on him heavily. They still have a very good offensive line. The problem is, I think the realization, it's Rashee Rice, it's Xavier Worthy, it's this, everyone's profound love of Cyrus Allen and old Travis Kelce. It would be very tough for me to see a world where he cracks the top 10 this without being mobile, and I don't think they want him to be mobile right now.
No, there's no reason for him to. And this team isn't built to be a top 10 offense. They don't want it to be a top, or not like through the air, at least, getting in shootouts. No, they want Ken Walker to go in there and score twice a game, which I'm okay with that too. I've got Stafford down at 20. You had him, what, 12? Your argument's probably pretty easy, pretty simple. It's just a lot of last year.
There's a guy that calls the plays. His name is Sean McVay. He's very good at it. He still has Puka. And if he doesn't have Puka, he still has Devontae Adams. And he has our beloved Terrence Ferguson there, and along with like 8 other tight ends. Runs 3 tight end sets. Yeah, no, Stafford's just going to be – I don't expect MVP season. I don't expect 40 touchdowns, but I do expect 30 touchdowns. And he'll hover like around like QB 10 to 12. He'll be playable.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm out this year. I don't even know that I'm just fading, but I might just be all out. I don't like status you quarterbacks, minus Jared Goff this year. I think that we're going to have a lot of regression, of course. I think it's going to be closer to 25 touchdowns than 35.
Okay.
I think the defense has a lot to do with this. This is a team that they need to get to the end. They've got Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
He's already banged up. You've got Devontae Adams, who tends to pull things. They need these guys healthy all the way through the season. This offensive line is now improved yet again. Easily should be top 10 in the league this year. You got two running backs that finished at the top of their game in efficiency. Like you said, they're moving to 13 personnel. Sean McVay is great at calling these plays. I'm gonna hold on to it a little bit. I'm trying not to let it slip out here, but I think this running game could be what you want for your fantasy championships. That could be what unlocks it. I also think this defense could be putting them in such like they could be getting the ball on their side of the 50 or on their opponent's side of the 50 for majority of their games. And could you imagine if you're only getting 40-yard drives, 50-yard drives, 30-yard drives in some instances? I think this defense could absolutely cause so much havoc that they don't need these big explosive plays. They don't even have room to do these big explosive plays where we're just running the ball out. And I think we could see a drastic shift. Am I projecting that? No. But I think there's a world where we have a complete opposite shift. All of a sudden, the running backs are scoring 24 touchdowns on the season, and Matt Stafford's barely getting 20. So I've got him down there at the bottom. I've got it low. I've got Ferguson in the top 15. So I'm not completely fading the passing offense. But with that being said, everything.
Okay. Fair. I'll give you a stat for that. Myles Garrett has only played – last year he played 71 snaps with the Browns leading the game. And then the Rams had 681 snaps in total where they were leading the game in their season last year. So Myles Garrett getting a chance to go pin his ears back is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, he's not playing to go win the game that I've got to go get the strip. Hey, we're winning. We've got the cushion, and they're the ones that are playing back on their heels. Yeah, it's kind of just defensive touchdowns. I'm going to be betting on some random ones. You're going to get that gut feeling this week, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the week. Defensive touchdowns for the Rams. Malik Willis would be a guy in my top 12 if we're doing points per game rankings. Tyler Shuck, somebody who I think could finish in the top 12. I imagine we're pretty positive on your side with both these two, but just not confident enough.
Yeah, they're just can't wait for my quarterback to have a bye, and I hope they're there on the waiver wire.
Jordan Love is just not sexy enough.
Yeah, I went back and I looked, and he was injured, correct, last year, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah.
That's what was going on with him.
That's why we got some Willis action.
Games he finished it was just a lot the year prior in 2024, right? It's he has these really good spike weeks of finishes QB2, 3, 11, but I don't know, man. He's very much he is a system quarterback. I feel like it's really what the system looks like for him.
And I think the best case scenario for him is if the system falls through on the defense sucks, and Josh Jacobs is hurt. That will put him in a position where he can compete for a top 10 quarterback in fantasy if they have to rely on him in the passing game. But lesser chance of that happening in my eyes.
Damn.
Cam Ward, I'm excited. I hope we get some spikes, but I think it's going to be more disappointment than consistency. Same thing with Daniel Jones. Any other of these deep quarterbacks you want to talk about?
I think Cam Ward is going to have his best season. I just believe in Brian Dable. I think Brian Dable's a good play caller. Don't know about head coach. He's getting, they did add to the system. They got him Carnell Tate, fourth overall pick. They brought in Wandale. Calvin Ridley's now their wide receiver 3, that's always good. If they can get him a running game, that'd be great. But I think before.
That's what I'm hoping. Hoping we get a little happiness down there in Tennessee, but not too much. Rivals, of course. All right, let's check out our consensus quarterbacks before we get out of here. And I think this might be the best list we have. We've got definitely some differences on some of our guys, but Josh Allen coming at number 1, Lamar Jackson at 2, Jayden Daniels, Drake Maye, Joe Burrow rounding out the top 5. From there, we have Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Jackson Dart, Caleb Williams, Jared Goff, and Dak Prescott in our top 12. And then going down there, 13, we've got Bo Nix, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, Brock Purdy, Malik Willis, and Tyler Shuck. I think I like the consensus better than I like mine. Jared Goff's a little low, but I feel like it's keeps me in check. You're not even listening to me, are you? You son of a bitch. All right.
It's this Wi-Fi. It is just shit. It is. I don't know what's going on because I even said something. I was like, "Oh, he's still talking," or I'll stop. And then I was like, "Oh, nope, I cut off." So yeah, you can finish it off.
Cool. All right, so consensus, we've got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jayden Daniels, Drake Maye, Joe Burrow rounding out our top 5. Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Jackson Dart, Caleb Williams, Jared Goff, and Dak Prescott in our top 12. And then 13 through 20, we have Bo Nix, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, Brock Purdy, Malik Willis, and Tyler Shuck. I think I like this better than I like my own list.
Yeah, I like how we're both low on Purdy.
He was in my top 12 for a while. After Pearsall went down, it seems like inevitable for that substation to just take them all down.
Yeah, I enjoyed the substation tweet, by the way. I got to go finally. I'm just like, it's just one-liners. It's great. I enjoy it. I'm a simple man with simple needs.
Exactly. Someone's got to have fun around here. And it's definitely not the players there for the 49ers. Brennen, what else you got for the people before we get out of here?
Gamble responsibly. Have fun when you play fantasy football. That's what it's all about.
Have fun, folks. That's the pillars. It's one of the pillars, at least. That's competition, winning, all those other great things. Folks, if you want to win against us, play against us, we've got a Pick'em League. We've got a Survivor League. Check out down there in the comments. We can hop in there. Join us on Sleeper. If not, make sure you're listening to each show. We've got so much more fun. Like, subscribe. Hit us with a review there on Apple Podcasts if you can. See you next time.
Jesus.